guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to be honest with you, this is a little bit of a screwy video situation I got going on here. I have actually, while I'm recording this, I'm actually in the process of editing everything when I realized I have lost a fair amount of footage, but I think we should be doing all right with what I got. But if it seems a little bit choppy, that's kind of why. I apologize for that. Something a little bit different that we haven't done on the channel here yet, but we have a revival to do, or will it run video. A lot of you guys seem to like those. I know I like watching them, they're kind of interesting, but I decided to purchase another project vehicle because that's what I needed, I guess. Hopefully by the time this actually comes out, the Studebaker Rat Rod will be on its way to a new owner, hopefully. It's been a fun car, I just don't get a chance to use it, so hopefully we can make up some more room here in the garage. But anyway, just wanted to kind of, for lack of a better term, reshoot this because the original footage was lost somewhere. I don't know what happened with the camera, battery died, SD card full, who knows. But it didn't shoot it, so without further ado, here's the new project car. All right, here it is. This is a 1983 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. This one is the Hearst Olds package. So this was the 15-year anniversary, kind of a limited production series for the Cutlass. I'll be real honest with you, it wasn't that much different than the regular Cutlasses, other than the paint job that's on it. The hood has a little bulge to it. Some of the trim in the front was blacked out. That is not the original header panel. I'll go ahead and come right out and say that. Not the original header panel. Those are just headlight bezels that were painted black. It has been smacked in the front end before. You can tell by the front bumper. It's kind of pushed back. But the Hearst header panel wasn't really much different. Other than it had a badge up at the front instead of where your hood ornament would go right there. It had a badge that said 15-year anniversary on it. Other than that, they all came with a 307 V8, which is nothing to write home about. The 204R transmission, and the 1983s got the 7.5 rear end in it. The 84s got the 8.5 rear end in it, which is supposedly a little bit better rear end, but they flip-flopped the color on them between the 84 and the 85, so it was silver on top and black on the bottom for the 84s. And I am no expert on the Hearst Olds, but that's from my research what the difference was. They also came with spoiler in the back. That's not really anything special. This one you can see is missing the end piece. It's been damaged. The other thing they had was the chrome rally wheels on them, and they did originally have a red stripe on them. These ones have obviously not weathered real well, but I'm hoping we can kind of clean those up and make them look halfway decent. The other thing it had was a different front spoiler on the front of it. This one is damaged. The guy I bought it from said he does have the piece that runs across here, but he did not have it where the car was actually parked. So that's hopefully, he seems like a good guy. Hopefully he'll get back to me with those other parts. He also said there's a bunch of interior parts. The one cool thing that these do have that I always liked, and it's kind of gimmicky, I'll admit it, is the lightning rod shifters. that was only available in the Hurst Olds, and they are, maybe kind of see them through there. You got 3 shifter handles in there, so those are intact in there. The transmission that's in there is not the original 204R. I do not know if there was anything special with the valving on the Hurst Olds package in the transmission. I know there's different options with when you get into like the Grand National in the Buick with the 204R. Obviously, this thing's kind of rough. Hopefully it's, honestly, this is as far as I've gotten with it. It's still on the trailer. I haven't done anything with it. The inside is full of trash. Like I said, it hasn't been driven in 18 years. It hasn't ran in 18 years. It was, when I got there, sitting on this trailer. The trailer came with the car. So it did originally have a wheel right there until about a half hour from home. And then the tire decided it no longer wanted to be part of this world, and it blew out. So that's what's left of our tire. So we just, it was actually that back one that went out, and I took that wheel off of the front, put it on the back, because weight-wise it seemed like the best thing to do. Luckily, the tire iron that was in my Tundra worked to be able to take that off. So, and I did have a hydraulic jack. I remembered to grab that, but didn't remember to grab my impact or anything, take it with me. So, you know, live and learn. So anyway, we kind of peg-legged it about a half hour further along the road and got it home all right. Like I said, this is the trailer that it came with. It's a little rough, it needs some work, but it was actually a nice trailer at one point in time, and it may clean up well. It's been sitting out in the weather for a while, but it is actually a steel deck trailer. The front axle is bent. You can tell if you look at it on the other side that the wheel is cocked at an angle, and actually it's both wheels on, you know, the front wheels on both sides are both cocked at an angle. That's not just because it's sitting with no wheel on it. So obviously she's got some rust in it. That's a hole, so that's not good. This rocker panel is holy. The quarter panel has a hole in front of and behind the wheel. The trunk lid, hole. I stuck my head underneath it as best I could, and the frame looks good. From what I could see, the floor pans look good. So it might just need quarters and rockers. I don't know. Once we get it off the trailer, we'll get it up on the lift and see how that looks. But yeah, this is pretty crusty. It's not through, but it'll need to be replaced. This rocker actually isn't too bad. This door isn't too bad except for the front corner here. It's starting to bubble up, but yeah, it's rough, but I've always wanted one, so that's what we got. Take a look under the hood. Now, I'm gonna warn you right now, if you're an Oldsmobile purist, turn away, because she's no longer Oldsmobile. Try this with the other hand. Well, oh, look at that. It's a small block Chevy. So I have no idea what this motor came out of. The gentleman I bought it from is apparently a automotive technician, is how he put it. I don't know what all that entails, but I don't know if he was the one that put the motor in it or somebody else did. He did say he did head gaskets on it at one point in time. But Chevy 350, Edelbrock Performer intake on it. He said it had a 750 CFM Edelbrock carburetor on it. Looking like it's got a spacer underneath that. Other than that, looks like he's got a fuel pressure regulator mounted over there. Optima battery that looks way too small, and I'm sure is toast now. It was, let's be honest, probably never any good. Does have a line locker on it, so it should do burnouts once we get it running. Other than that, it looks like a standard G body underneath the hood. Yeah, so I don't know a whole hell of a lot about it. I do know it turns, as I was able to do that by hand, but that's about it. Looks like it's got a, I think that might be an MSD distributor on it. Not sure. We'll find out. There's wasps, or there were. Yeah, they're gone. So, yeah. Take a look and see what's under the hood. Or under the, in the trunk, I mean. Alright, so he opened the trunk for me before, so I'm assuming these keys work. Yep. So, we've got a big old tote full of parts. This, he was telling me, is actually the harness and fuse block to do an LS swap. So, that gets us somewhere, even as the ECU. So that may be what this ends up getting, because I can buy an LS for relatively cheap, but it's all this crap that ends up getting you. So we may end up doing that, not gonna lie. Again, you Oldsmobile purists, calm down. She's a little crunchy to be trying to save, I think, and make it some sort of concourse machine here. We didn't dig all the crap out, but the floor looks pretty solid for a G-body. Even down in the spare tire well there, isn't all rusted out, so that's promising. It's got a little bit of crunchiness around the corners, but I didn't see any holes, so keeping our fingers crossed on that. Looks like we got some more wasps. That's nice. And whatever that is, insulation that I'm pretty sure shouldn't be in there. Looking like not the original trunk lid. Pretty sure that's not how GM did the spoiler. So, not the original trunk lid, I'm thinking. So we're not getting any information off of that, because I think, don't they usually put stickers up there? I don't know. Today, I'm going to try working on this disaster. Well, maybe not from the passenger side, I'm not working on it. It does have custom door handles. Right there. We'll have to address that. Like I said, it does have the lightning rod shifters right there. It is a power window, power lock car. So that's kind of nice. My other one doesn't have that. I'm sure those don't work. But it is absolutely filled with trash. And just looking here, I'm saying that maybe it used some oil, maybe it used some transmission fluid, maybe it used a lot of transmission fluid. Who knows? We'll find out. Seats are not good, but they do make, you know, new covers for all those. And it is missing the backs of them, so might have to try source those. Typical saggy headliner. Has some sort of a cover over this seat here. Maybe we'll get lucky and the back seat will be clean. Carpet, disgusting. Whole rest of the interior, disgusting. Does have the correct badge up on the dash, so that's promising. A Super Tack 2, I don't know what's so super about it over the Super Tack 1, but has dual exhaust on it. So I think what we're going to do today, I'm going to dump all this trash out of it. It surprisingly does not smell horrible in there. So that's good. But I think today I'm just going to get all the trash cleaned out of it. And then I know we've got some stuff going on this weekend. I won't have much chance to work on this, but might try this week. We'll get some spark plugs pulled out, stick some ATF down in the cylinders or something. Probably wouldn't be the worst idea. Like I said, it is free. I'm going to take a look at whatever the motor mount situation is. Something is askew. So, I don't know what in the hell that's all about. But, figure that out. But we'll see if we can get this thing fired up and running. Hopefully, maybe we'll have brakes. Maybe. Still have some fluid in it, so we might be good. But we'll get it checked out and everything, but like I said, for right now, just gonna get the interior cleaned up. I think first things first, I'm gonna put some air in these tires because they are low. See if we can get this side to raise up a little bit so we can get this door open. Let's just say the fender's not super stout, so pretty sure we can just push it out of the way to open the door to clean it out, but it needs air in the tires. So we'll do that quick. Yeah, we'll make sure we don't lose the valve stem caps because you know that's important right now. Perfect. Ugh. Alright, let me get some gloves on because that's funky. Get the trash can rolled over here and just start dumping crap. Alright, now some people would say that I should have a respirator on to do this. Some people are probably right, but you know what? I did car audio installation for 20 years, working in some filthy, nasty cars. I never wore a respirator. COVID is 99% of the people who get it are fine, so not real worried about it. Like I said, it doesn't smell horribly bad, so that's a transmission dipstick too. That's nice. The dipstick, perfect. Old Camel cigarettes. Some sort of hose. Some little girl's missing her doll. So I realized that this video is getting way too long at this point in the editing, so I'm just going to skip all the crap. It was full of garbage. I threw it all out, saved a couple things, and vacuumed the car up. Now we'll get back to the video. Well, I don't know when the camera died, but you didn't miss anything. I was vacuuming. So I'm going to probably end up editing most of that out if, I don't even know if when I said that earlier, it edited out. But anyway, most of what you would see was me and my butt crack vacuuming. So I got most of it out of there. It's still pretty filthy, but it's, you know, at least not trash sitting in the car. The driver's side floorboard is pretty soft, so we'll see how that goes, and see if we want to get into replacing floor pans and everything on it. But for now, I just wanted to get all the trash out of it because that's disgusting. Note to anybody selling a car, wash the car out before you sell it, because that's kind of gross. But anyway, I'll get back at it tomorrow and work on seeing if we can get this thing to start up.
Right about here
Later.
is where I realize in my editing that I am missing a bunch of stuff that I had already recorded, and I can't really go back and re-record it because, well, we're past that point. Here's what happened. Next day, went out, removed all the spark plug wires and the spark plugs, shot some PB blaster down inside the cylinders just because, you know, seemed like the right thing to do, and started looking over the wiring a little bit underneath the hood and started seeing a bunch of crap that is not right. There's melted wires under the hood. There are just wires that are aftermarket that don't seem to match what was existing in my other Cutlass, you know, because I'm a little bit familiar with Cutlasses here. And so at this point in the video, I'm just trying to weed that crap out before I hook any battery power up to it, because last thing we want to do is start the car and or my garage on fire. So that's kind of roundabout where we're picking up here. So now you're up to speed. Think we can move on from here.
Alright, sorry about that. Camera quit. I forgot to clean out the SD card. So anyway, that one wire came through and it tied onto this red, which I don't know where it goes from there other than it goes into the bulkhead connector. So I do believe that this will need power to it, but I'm a little bit leery of connecting back up to it just because of its melted status, but we'll give it a shot. We'll hook up to it, screw it. But that eliminates two of the damaged wires out of there. That might have only been melted because it doesn't look like it's melted beyond this bad connection that was exposed and resting against the block. So we might be all right with that. We might go ahead and just make a connection on that, take it over there and hook it back up to the battery, smell for smoke, and call it a day. All I have left is that couple of wires over there that are bundled together and then run off over there. We'll check those out, try and kind of trace those out, see where those go. I don't remember those in my other Cutlass, but it was a 1 year different and a 6-cylinder, so maybe that's different on this one. So they come up, okay. This one is weird. We're gonna snip these wire ties off and remove this so we can see what's actually going on here. On the plus side, none of this looks like it's been chewed on, so maybe not a mouse issue at least. This is definitely melted, but it was also laying across the blower motor here. So it's possible that that got warm and just kind of started getting her nice and warm. But this is almost looking aftermarket. Because it goes down through the firewall, but not through the factory grommet. So we'll get underneath the dash and see what we can figure out with that. In the meantime, we know this can go. "20 years later, it might be time for a new set of cutters." Get rid of that. Big one should go down to the starter. This undersized wire goes to the alternator, lacking a ring terminal. That'll have to be addressed before it gets too deep into it. This other wire that's on here goes to this relay right here, which I believe is just for the HVAC controls. So it's probably okay. We'll address this mess later, but for now, I think that'll be fine. And the ground looks, well, it looks bad, but should be good enough to get us running. So we'll take a look at what we got going on under the dash. All right, so I've kind of traced some of those wires down. By the way, guys, if you're working on a car, use knee pads. I spent 20 years installing car audio, didn't use a knee pad. Just 6 weeks ago, I had to have knee surgery and found out I've got pretty decent arthritis in my knees. So I never used knee pads before. Take care of your knees. Anyway, public service announcement over. So under the dash here, see if we can get you some light. We found all sorts of neat little prizes here. We have this random wire that is the same gauge as that one that we're looking at, that is very obviously melted. But that actual wire is this one right here, and it is tied up, goes around around the emergency brake, tied to this, and it runs back, and who knows, it's under the carpet somewhere. Again, pretty sure that was for an amplifier that doesn't exist anymore. The other wire, that red wire, is this one right here. It comes up, loops around all this crap, comes into here, who knows what it's tie wrapped to. Sounds like something metal and probably sharp, so that's, you know, a great idea. It was all run underneath the console. At that point, I dug all the change out of the console. There you go, made more money. And we've got this switch here. Kind of forgot. The guy I bought it from told me he had a line lock installed on this for the front brakes. So it goes out of that switch up to right here into our line lock. So that's what that is. I am going to cut that off for right now. We don't need to have that going, and I'm not hooking it up until I put a fuse on that, and I'll rework the wiring properly, if we even get to that point. Let's get the car running first. While I was looking around, I did this is that wire I was talking about that was just kind of haphazard. Oh, my Milwaukee hood lamp is dying. I'll have to put a new battery in that. This wire right here is the one I was saying was just a flying splice. It came over to this green wire right here that is run, you know, right next to the hood hinge. Best place for it. That's not a pinch point at all. That runs in and through this custom grommet, also known as your door jamb. and that's the signal for the tach up there. So we'll go ahead and leave that disconnected for now too. Well, we might actually hook that back up temporarily, but we'll deal with that later. Not a major safety concern at this point. All of these hot wires off the battery that are gonna start rolling smoke as soon as we put power to them is the real problem. I'm gonna change out this light that keeps flashing because the battery's dying, and I'll get some of that crap cleaned out of there. All right, I'm gonna bring you guys back in for this because I want to show you something. So, actually a couple of things. One thing we're gonna see together. So I took the kick panel and the sill plate off to figure out what that wire was, where it was going. Answered a couple of questions. It definitely looks like it was for an amplifier install. It looks like this wire here burnt down, so they put in another wire. Of course, still didn't fuse it at the battery like it should be, but you can actually see on this other wire, it's melted all the way down it, the whole way down the rocker back to where it disappears underneath the carpet. The other thing that I found is this other end of this green wire right here, that if I pull it, it'll come, yep, there it is. So that actually doesn't come from the trunk, it's just coiled up and sticking back out. Still don't know exactly what this is. I'm guessing this is probably a speaker wire. But if you watch my other videos and I talk about wiring, and the purpose of putting a fuse in wiring is to protect the wire, this is why. If you don't have a fuse up at the battery, then if it catches, or if it gets too hot, it's going to burn it and melt it all the way back down. He's lucky the car didn't catch on fire. And then this other wire that was put in there, yeah, bad idea. The green wire looks like it was the remote turn on for the amplifier, because it goes up, ends up right there, and on the end of it, it's got the remains of a fuse holder with a blue wire, which is typically your remote turn on wire color on an aftermarket radio. So I'm gonna get all that crap ripped out because it doesn't belong there, and bring you back then. I almost forgot. I told you guys we would see this together. I kind of already know what the status of this is. But I'll lift the old carpet up and see how bad these floors are. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, there's no floors left. So, yeah, I guess it needs floor pans. We'll see. On the plus side, this feels pretty solid along here, so this channel should be good. I'm not sure how exactly the floor pan kits come in these, but we've got something to weld to on the sides, so that's unfortunate, but is what it is. On the plus side, I got all the wiring out of there. That little black wire, that was some cheap, crappy RCA cables that were cut. One thing to note, though, the new black wire that was running through there for the power wire for the amplifier was just cut off and somewhere not taped up or anything underneath the seat. So very good possibility when we applied power to it that it would have been shorted out and possibly had us a nice smoke show. So good thing we went ahead and ripped it out. I don't do revivals on this channel really, but let's just say it's not my first rodeo with towing home a piece of crap and starting it up after it hasn't ran for a while. And this is one thing I always do: get rid of or at least trace all of the aftermarket wiring that you see in there. to find out what is going on before you start hooking up power to some unknown vehicle. Alright, so I removed cut out all the wiring for that line lock for the front brakes, and because we don't need that to get it to run. But I was thinking about it. This power wire is similar in size to that one that we did cut off over there that was melted from arcing against the engine. So just for temporary purposes, we're just going to take and put a butt splice on this wire and connect it to that one down there, because I do know that's a power wire going into the bulkhead that feeds the fuse block for the vehicle, so it does need to be powered. So we'll go ahead and just use this temporarily and make it work. I'm not going to mess around with fixing the terminal on the alternator that needs to be fixed or anything yet. We just want to spin it over, make sure it at least cranks, then we can throw plugs in it, throw some gas down the carburetor, and see if it'll fire off. But for right now, I'm just going to make up a joint on that real quick and call it good. And before any of my subscribers mention anything about the style of wiring connection I'm doing here, from having watched my wiring videos, let me go ahead and just let you know, ease your mind a little bit. This is temporary. This is just to get it running. Otherwise, I would be soldering this wire. But this is just super temporary, just to get the car running. We aren't going to go into too much trouble doing anything too god-awful pretty until we know it runs. And I'll be honest, even then, this engine might be short-lived for this vehicle, and all this crap will go away. So there's that. I can't leave that. I'm gonna grab a connector and throw it on that too, just because it's bare and I don't like that. Again, not necessarily the right style of connector, but just temporary. I mean, technically, these are okay to use. I have to stop myself from saying they're within code, because it's, you know, my job as an electrician, I always have to work within the National Electrical Code, but this is a car. There is no National Electrical Code or anything on it. There's just the right way to do it and not. There are standards, but not an actual code. It's not like you get an inspection and you can't drive, well, I should say some states have inspections. I don't know if they look at, do they look at the wiring in your car for inspections in states that do them, and will they not give you an inspection ticket or not pass your inspection if you have crappy wiring in it? I don't know. Leave it in the comments. Let me know. I'd be interested to know. Here in Illinois, we don't have vehicle inspections, which I'm happy about. It's about the only thing I like about this state, to be completely honest. But I wouldn't be surprised if it won't be too long before we do have inspections. And that's a little chewy. Looks like the mouse got to that, but let's leave that where it's not touching anything and forget we saw it for now. Probably forget about it later too. Oh well. Like I said, all temporary. All temporary. At this point, I am semi-confident to actually put power to it and see if anything lights on fire. So let me grab my super cheesy jump pack and we'll hook it up, see if anything starts smoking. So my father-in-law got me this. It's just a Black & Decker jump pack for Christmas. Not real heavy duty. It's nice in a pinch though. I know if you watch some of the Revival guys, they've got some real nice ones, and I hope to get one of those someday here. But for right now, this is what I got. I've never actually tried to use it to get a car to actually start just with this, but it should be good enough to get us power enough to check and see if something is horribly wrong. Set this here-ish, where it hopefully won't fall and short out on anything. That'll work. And according to this, battery is good. Should be. I just plugged it in. I've only used this thing 2 other times. So let's turn it on and see if any smoke rolls out. I don't see anything. Let me grab my meter. I want to make sure this may have some crappy circuitry in it that tells you that, or won't let it do anything unless there's some charge. If that's the case, then, well, one, I'm going to be pissed because that completely defeats the purpose of this thing. And 2, we're going to have to figure out a different method if that's the case. So we've got the multimeter set up to 12 volts. I don't know if you guys can read that, but trust me, it's set up to read DC current. And it is reading 12.5 volts. So this is powered up right now. I don't know about you guys, but I don't see any smoke. So that's promising. Now, there shouldn't really be any load on it. There's no keys in it or anything. But just doing that doesn't feel like there's any issues as far as any shorts right now. None of these wires are hot, so that's promising. If I get you moved over onto the old selfie stick, we'll hop inside and see if we'll get any dash lights or anything coming on. All right, let's see here. Get in. It's actually the first time I've sat in the seat of this thing. It hasn't fallen through the floor, so that's promising. We got no dome lights. Should be a courtesy light under the dash. We got nothing there. That's weird. Did these not have dome lights on them? I thought all the Cutlasses had dome lights. Huh. And it feels like it's got the factory headliner in it. It is missing the trim. So, I don't know. Guy bought it from said he had a bunch of interior parts, so we'll see about that. I'm not sure what the purpose of this tack is. There's one in the dash. Whatever. It does have the, I think they refer to them as rally pack gauges. So let's see how this goes. Key in. I got no buzzer or anything. Turned on. Got a turn signal trying to flash. Crisis averted. Alright, we should have lights lighting up on the dash here. But then again, who knows what they did when they swapped this in. I got something buzzing underneath the hood. I don't know what the hell that is. But we don't have much power, I don't think. Let's try the headlights out. They are very dim. So I think that jump pack just doesn't have much love to it. Let's try rolling the key backwards. Let's see if this old crappy Sony CD player has any power. No? Nothing? She's got nothing. So we may have some issues. Ooh, it's got the passenger side mirror adjustment. My Cutlass doesn't have that. Well, I guess this is my Cutlass too. My other one doesn't have it, the 82. But the other one doesn't have this either. So, let me hook up my starter switch outside there. We'll try getting that on the starter and just try to roll it over without using the ignition. See what that does for us. Alright, so update. I couldn't get down there at the starter to hook onto it with a starter switch, so what I did is I hooked up my big battery charger to it to see if maybe we can get enough juice through the key here. So let's try this again. Key on. I saw gauges move. No idiot lights. Let's give her a quick bump, see if it does anything. Well, we had sparks under the hood and it sounded like the starter went and my wipers just tried to move. So the sparks under the hood came from the cables up there. I don't know if you can see them, not a big deal. It wasn't shorted out or anything, it was just trying to pull current through. But we did hear the starter click. We'll see again if it does anything. Alright, yeah, those kind of work. Let's give her another shot here. No, we definitely have a loose ground up there. Let's see if we can resolve that and try this again. Really need another battery. I should just run and go get one. Alright, update. I went ahead and hooked it up to the ground down here instead of trying to go to this crappy terminal. I still have the booster pack hooked up there, but hopefully that'll give us a little bit better ground. Probably not. We'll see. I mean, she looks like she's doing something. Scrape a clean spot on it. I'd like to get some better clamps for my charger. They're not the best. Still the original ones off the Craftsman charger. Let's give it all the juice. Oop. I heard something clicking up here. What was that? We're going to turn off the jump pack just to be safe. We'll try that. Lights are bright on the tack. Nope. We may have to put a battery in that thing to get a good connection, so that might be it for tonight. It's late, it's a Sunday. I'm dirty. I don't really feel like getting in my nice truck and driving down there, so we're also going to let that Optima down there do its little refresh thing. Maybe we can bring it back to life. I'll check it in the morning and see what it's doing. Basically, it goes through and does its little digital whatevers, and then it'll start to actually charge. It's been doing the reconditioning stage for a while now, well, since last night, about this time. So, and I've had it take more than a day before. So again, I don't know if it does anything on the spiral cell batteries, but it's worth a shot. If I don't have to immediately buy a battery just to see if this thing works, I'm game. So I'll get back at it once I got a battery that I can throw up in there, and then hopefully we can get it to crank over. All right, I'm an idiot. So I completely forgot that for the last 4 years, I've had a battery just sitting on the workbench in my other garage, and that 3 months ago, I just went through, ran the little reconditioner test on it, charged it up, everything was good. Totally forgot that it was sitting there. So we have a battery. This is actually the battery out of my Tundra when I traded my FJ Cruiser in for my Tundra. It was, the FJ Cruiser had a brand new, rather pricey battery in it, so I kept that. And yeah, this is not ideal right here. This should have the battery turned around the other direction. I'm just trying to keep it from touching against the edge right there. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put a fender cover over that just to kind of protect that and give me a little bit of peace of mind. But let me do that, and then we can try this whole situation again. All right, I don't know where my fender covers are, so an old shirt that I found laying in the garage will work just the same. It's just in case that thing shifts, it's not gonna put that positive terminal right into the fender there. So it'll work for now. Basically, when we built this garage and I moved out here, I moved all my stuff out here for working on cars, and damned if I can remember where I put my fender covers. So let's try giving this another shot. Let me find where I put the keys. There they are. All right, let's try it again. Battery on. She's spinning. Perfect. Well, spins over fine. We're going to call that a success. All we needed was, a battery. Who would have thought? I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and disconnect all of this crap, unhook the battery out of there. By the way, you see a lot of the guys on the revival videos, they always have problems with the terminals being loose because they just push the terminals on. Yeah, I'm not jacking around with that. They're actually tight. I understand why they do that, but I'm not fighting it. I'm a one-man situation going on here, so yeah, those are actually tight. But I'm going to disconnect this. We'll get some spark plugs put back in. As far as whether or not it has spark, well, I'm pretty positive it does. It's a HEI ignition. It's not points, so we shouldn't have issues with spark, I wouldn't think. Earlier I thought it had an MSD distributor. It's actually an Excel, but same deal. Same thing, different name as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if one is better than the other. I don't care. It's all the same. So anyway, we'll get those put in, and we'll maybe dump some fuel down in it. Probably going to do that tomorrow. I'll be honest, it's dark outside right now. I don't know what in the hell is in the exhaust of this thing, but I know this. I admittedly have a pretty nice garage. I try to keep it relatively clean, pay no mind to the mess. It's a mess, but it's not dirty. I don't want to start this thing up and have a bunch of crap blowing out of the exhaust in my garage. So what I'm probably going to do is get all the plugs in it, put all the plug wires in, hook up the truck, pull it outside, and actually try to do a first start on it tomorrow after I get off work, because, I have a real job, and see if we can't get this thing to fire off. Before we do that, I think what I'm going to end up doing is, because I don't know if there's any gas in the tank. I don't know what the situation was when it was parked. But I did sniff. It didn't smell bad. That sounds actually pretty hollow and empty. Might drop a bore scope down in there and see if there's any fuel in it. But it didn't smell bad, but I really don't want to pump that up into the carburetor if we can avoid it. Looks like there's a filter right here. Oh, perfect. It's one of the glass ones that, you know, are real swift. But, see if you guys can see that. But I'm probably going to go ahead and just disconnect that so we aren't pumping gas up through. This is a fuel pressure regulator that he put in. I know the Edelbrocks are supposedly sensitive to fuel pressure, but honestly on my other Cutlass I didn't have a problem with it with the stock fuel pump, but who knows, that might be some sort of high volume pump. I don't know. But that's what we'll do tomorrow, and we'll check back then. Alright guys, day 2 of working on the Hurst Olds. Got off work this afternoon, got home. I went ahead, I didn't bother filming it, but I went ahead, got the spark plug wires back on, spark plugs in, wires back on, all that good stuff. Took the battery, flipped it around so that the negative is next to the fender instead of the positive being so close there, just in case it shifts. I don't care if the negative hits the body. I don't want the positive hitting that and melting it down. Other than that, that's all that I've done. We're going to, I got it hooked up to the truck here. We're going to go ahead and pull it out of the garage. I want to try putting some gas down the carburetor. I got a squirt bottle here made up. I want to put some gas down the carb and see if she'll fire up. I will say that if this does run, we got some stuff in this area here that we're going to have to address. It's got a whole lot of no happening on that. I do know, or have been told, that the 204R transmissions, which is what this is supposed to have in it, are pretty particular about the TV cable alignment and adjustment, and something tells me the fact that it starts here and ends up way back over here at this angle, yeah, that's not real swift. So Edelbrock does make a bracket for their intake and their carburetor. It does not account for the spacer here though, but I'm pretty sure that we can build some spacers and actually, you know, make something legitimate out of that. I'll get one of those ordered if in fact the motor actually runs properly. So I decided we were going to go ahead and stick a scope down inside the gas tank, just see what's going on. This is the scope that I'm using here. It is a Wi-Fi unit that connects to your cell phone wirelessly, you know, through Wi-Fi, like I said. I've got it hooked up to my phone. Got the phone sitting right here, so hopefully the glare is not too terrible. But we'll stick this down in there and see what we're looking at. All right, going in. Alright, that should be the bottom of the tank. Let's see if we can get a little bit more light on it. Holy crap. I'm gonna be real honest with you. That doesn't look too bad. This right down here is what gas is in it, which is very little, and it doesn't look like it's really rusted out, so I think we may be alright. Assuming I didn't get this stuck in here. Alright. We're still going to disconnect it, but I think, actually, we're alright with that. Alright. First start since probably 2010 or so. See what happens. Well, battery doesn't sound happy. Give it a little choke. Give it a little more choke and a little more gas. Can't be this thirsty. I'm not fast enough. Well, it's not knocking, so that's good. I didn't see any crap blow out the back, but I wasn't really looking, so who knows. I got a camera set up back there. We'll see what it showed, but it doesn't sound bad from what I can tell. Might hook up a temporary fuel source so we can let it run for a little while longer, but I don't know, see what it does. Try filling up the float here. See if it'll run a little longer on its own. I'm sure this carburetor needs to be rebuilt. Suppose I should see if I have any oil pressure reading in there. Not that I know if the factory gauges work, but we shall see. It's showing 60 pounds of oil pressure at idle. I don't believe that with as low as the oil is, but it's got something. Alright guys, so I think we're going to cut the video here. I got to split this up a little bit. I've noticed when loading YouTube videos, they get too long. It takes absolutely forever for the stuff to load. So, and I don't feel like waiting for hours on end for videos to load. I think the point has been made with this one. So what we did, obviously, got it cleaned up, got all the previous owner's trash out of it, gave it kind of a once over. Unfortunately found rust in the floorboard, but we'll hopefully deal with that at some point in the future. The main thing was, will it run? And it's a small block Chevy in it. Of course it ran. Motor sounds pretty decent. It sounds like there's a little bit of a lift or tick. It'd probably come out of that, or it might need adjustment. Whatever. That's not that big of a deal. Bottom end doesn't sound like it has any noise. At least not what I could hear over the whining of the power steering pump, which I'm sure it's low on power steering fluid, so that's to be expected. I think in the next video what we're going to do is I'm going to take a fuel pump, a little electric clicky-clack fuel pump. I'm going to see if I can suck out what little gas looks like is left in the tank, and then dump a few gallons of clean new gas into the tank, enough where it'll pump it up, and then see if we can get the car to run off of that same pump but coming out of a clean tank, and leave the fuel pump on the block to pump the gas, the clean gas from the tank through the line into a bucket so that it kind of flushes that out. Also to make sure that the mechanical pump on the block is pumping and doing what it's supposed to. But a couple of reasons for doing it that way. Also give me a chance to let it run enough to kind of get some temperature into it and everything, but flush out the fuel lines that are in there and everything. So then we can, assuming that all works, hopefully we can then hook it all back up and just run it off the tank that's in the car. Hope is that it'll run off the tank that's in the car, the mechanical fuel pump, and then stupid fly, and then we can get into making sure that the transmission works. I really want to get it off of this trailer. If you haven't ever worked on a car that's sitting on a trailer, it's a pain in the ass, especially when this is not sitting straight on the trailer. It's pushed over to the passenger side, so anything that you got to do on that side, you're standing on the edge of the trailer. If you got to get under it, then you're breaking your back on the edge of the trailer. It sucks. But I didn't want to push the car off the trailer if it's not going to be mobile. If I leave it on the trailer, then it's mobile on the trailer. So, but that's what I hope to do in the next video. Hopefully you liked the video. If you did, hit the like. If you have any comments or questions or anything like that, make sure you put it in the comments. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification so you know when new videos come out. It'll probably be a little while before the next video comes out, but I'm going to turn around here tomorrow and start doing what I just talked about. So progress will be made, or at least answers will be gotten as far as what the rest of the condition of the car is. I'd like to be able to get it mobile so I can, like I said, get it off the trailer, but then I want to get it up on the lift so I can really see what's going on with it. Fingers are crossed that the frame is as good as it appeared like it was when I looked under it with it sitting on the trailer here, but because if it's not, then who knows what will happen with the car then. But yeah, like I said, make sure you like and subscribe, throw a comment down in the comment section, and any parts or anything that I've used, tools, anything like that, I'll try to put some links to them. Maybe they'll help you out on your project. Thanks guys, we'll catch you next time.